Good afternoon, kings and queens, and welcome to Business Strategies and Tips with Lady L. I am your host, Lady L. I know you see something new behind me, don't you? I'm going to be sharing with you a young lady who has blessed me with that. You may want to go to her website. I will get her information for you so that you can get one of those beautiful signs as well. So, with that being said, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here to help business owners and entrepreneurs identify their vision, mission, and purpose, turn them into legal, successful, and profitable business entities. This show is brought to you by the Magnet Exchange Group, a book club, a social club of like minded individuals with a powerful magnetic attraction that helps develop healthy relationships, positive personal development. We share wisdom and experiences in generational wealth and wealth preservation. We are in business empowerment days of the week, and this is Work It Out Wednesday. Yes, we're going to be sharing some golden nuggets to get you successfully and victoriously through your week. Okay, we have been doing an able series this week. We talked about being teachable. We talked about being coachable. Now, today, we're going to talk about being trainable. And you say, Laverne, why are you going through the able series? Well, first of all, it was something God laid on my heart, and I had to share it. I was riding with my granddaughter to school. I was doing some purple table. Well, duty may not be the right word because it's not really a duty. It's really a pleasure for me to have the privilege to spend with my grandchildren. And we were talking about these words, and she texted to me to make sure. I said, "Oh, I think I'm going to do a show, for the week, a week series on the ables." So if you have missed any of those shows, you need to go to my YouTube channel, Lady Verne, LadyVerne. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and hit the bell so that every day you are getting some information connecting to your business that will help encourage you, edify you, build you up, and give you that strength to just keep on going another day. So, let's go, let's go, let's go. We're talking about being the power found in being trainable. This has been a power series for the month of August, September, and going into October now. So that's why we're calling it business empowerment. So we're talking about the power found in being trainable. Trainable is to be capable of being teachable, coachable, educatable. That may be another word. I think I'm going to add that to my little group. I didn't add educationable. That's going to be an interesting study for me and be able to bring and share to you. Trainable is also an individual's ability to learn quickly and pick up on things that you're being trained or taught to do. And you're open to it. We talked about being open to being coachable on yesterday. So definitely listen and tune in for yesterday's show. How do you train someone effectively? Now training has been elusive because I'd say for the past couple of decades, everything has been on the job training. In other words, you need to come with as much experience as you have or can. And they show you a couple of procedures and policies and different things of that nature, and your skills are just supposed to take off and let it go. So, but depending on the industry, depending on the level of business where you have the ability to really go into some in-depth training, then you have the ability to be able to really see in more depth the people that you're training and to determine whether or not they are in what I call investable. Boy, I'm coming up with all these new words. This is crazy. Okay. So when you want to determine if, I got to write that down. Y'all excuse me. That was powerful. I don't know how that hit y'all, but I like that. Are you investable? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But let's stick with the task at hand. We're talking about being trainable. How do you train someone effectively? Well, let's take the simple road. You show them around. You let them see your operations. You let them see, and I'm going to get deep with this for a second because I don't think this is what we do. And we wonder why we may have high turnovers. We may not care about high turnovers, but for those that do, when you're looking at your bottom lines and your different departments and the production levels of your different departments, yeah, you do want to be concerned about your turnovers and your turnarounds with your employees and those that serve and labor among you. But if you can tie them in, and we've talked about this several times, if you can tie them into the vision, mission, and purpose, if they can memorize it, if they can get it down in their spirit, and they can see the connectivity of how they fit into it, when you show them around, you first of all, you're letting them know, hey, I worked for this. I brought this organization, this business, this company to this point. And I need you all to see the history. I need you all to see the flow of how it developed. Because once you get everybody in to your vision, mission, and purpose, I mean, even in your interview process, you want people that have done their homework about your company or your organization so that they can see where they can fit in, how they can be an asset, and how in turn you can be an asset to them in what you provide to them so that they in turn can provide to you excellent service. And then you want to learn about the person. You know, when don't be so stoic in your interview process. Get to know them. Ask them some questions that lead them into comfortably opening up about their background, whether it's their education, whether it's their job experience. I mean, don't get all deep in their personal life, but you do want to do a little kind of on the spot background check in addition to the official background checks that you're going to do. But you want to see that this person is someone that is investable to train, because unfortunately a lot of companies did stop training because they got tired of pouring into people, and then they would take it and leave. You need to find out why they did that before you're spending money or wasting time training someone that has some intentions of going somewhere else. So you do need to have that learn about that person conversation so that you can see if your company fits into their future plans. Because they may talk a good game, but there's certain questions you can ask them about your company, especially if you've divulged a bit of information on your websites and your information packages or however you're doing your interview process, to determine whether this person is looking for at least a little longevity on your job, at least give you 3 to 5 years. Because the days of people staying on the job 20, 30 years, come see, come sa. It's the world is changing, okay? So, and especially with our millennial generation, which I do admire in certain aspects. Look, if they don't see the value in putting in their time and energy, they gone. They don't do the 2 weeks notice thing. They just ghost you. I said, oh my God. But I see their point, because I remember when I was their age, and be honest, I took pretty much the same attitude, but I went about it in the protocolic way. I made sure I had another job before I gave you my 2 week notice, so I didn't have a break in my pay, but I gave you that courtesy so that you're just not walking away and just abandoning a company's operation, because at the end of the day, again, you reap what you sow. The day may come where you may end up being a business owner, and you're going to end up reaping the same kind of employees that you were. So you need to think about that. It's interesting that in finding out if they're training or you want to be effective in your training, ask them how they prefer to learn. Now that for me is a new one. You know why? Because when we were coming up, there was only one way to learn. Sitting at a desk, wah, 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 from the teacher. You hopefully retained it. You hopefully read the material. You hopefully was able to comprehend the material and digest the material and be able to bring it back out when it was necessary at test time or whatever. But all the while, Children learn so differently. They're visual learners, they're audio learners, they're hands-on learners, and you need to maximize those that are serving with you in all of those capacities of the way they learn. If they have a favorite or preferable way to learn, and if you're in a training position to give that type of resource, then by all means do that. That will be to the advantage of your company in the long run. Now, start on small bits of the job, then add more parts. We have a lot of companies, they just throw you in the deep end of the pool and say, work it out. You said you had experience here and this, that, and this, that, and the third, and you said you had this, you said you had that. You may be put in a position where you have to put up, or wish you had been quiet about it. It's just interesting the way that our trends of training is going. So you have to be flexible in making sure that you're giving, if you're talking about effective training, just give them a little something, a little responsibility, and see if they can handle that. Now, you may have those that may be, how can I put it? Because we call it multitasking, but multitasking has become elusive as well. Because we think we're accomplishing a lot of things, but to be honest, you have bits and pieces of things accomplished and not a whole project at the end of the day, because you still have that inbox that's full of papers that you've already touched once, and you're going to have to end up touching it again on another day. So, but if you see someone that is mechanically inclined, as I put it, where they're able to do a task, see that task in enough inside that task that it can begin to flow and go and move. And if they have to step off into another thing to get that one going, and especially if they're in a managerial position where they're able to now oversee the duties that they have delegated, that puts things in a different light. So you want to make sure that you can give them small bits and parts and then shadow them. I'm not saying micromanage, that's different, but just be observant to see how they flow and go. How do they connect with the other people that work alongside of them, especially if they're on a managerial level? Do they talk with them with a level of respect? Because at the end of the day, if you're 18 years old and you're working on someone's job or business or whatever, you're considered an adult to some extent. You may not be paying rent completely, or you're working out some home arrangements at home. But if you are being responsible every day to come to work at a set time, do your job, and leave an effective time, that is considered what I call a business adult. And we need to talk to adults in a respectful manner. You want to receive what you give out. So if you give out disrespect, guess what? That's what you're going to get back. So talk to people in a respectable manner, not talking at them or talking to them as if they were a child, because technically they're not. They are another adult. And especially if you're talking to somebody that's got kids, grandkids, and great grands, but they're still vital to the company, they're definitely due respect. So let's handle that accordingly. Have them try to guess a solution. See if they're solution minded. See if they're problem solvers. See if they are the answer to a challenge or a situation. Or even in your interview process, make sure that you're able to give them a scenario that they can work out. And then that will let you know if this is a trainable person. Also, don't do a difficult task for them. Now I'm talking to us moms and some of our dads out there too who've had to be moms as well, so to speak. Don't always spoon feed or hand feed a child a task that may be a little bit challenging, may be a little bit beyond their reach, but they have shown that they do have the capability of critical thinking or problem solving and working that situation out. I love to see the tenacity of a child who's trying to go from crawling to walking. They've managed to find that way to pull up. Sometimes you go on social media, you see these videos where you think you have them behind a safety gate or something like that, and you see these children just by pure instinct manage to calculate and problem solve and critically think a way, I want out of here, and they get out. And thank God for the mommy cams and things of that nature, because you get to actually film this stuff without them thinking they're being watched, and you're saying, oh my God, how did they figure that out? They have the ability to do it. But if you're going to coddle them, they're not going to grow and expand. Same thing with your employees or those that labor among you. Give them a challenging task, even if it is in a interview type of arrangement or situation, and see how they challenge that difficult task, and see how they problem solve, see their cognitive skills about it, see their problem solving skills about it, and you would be surprised. And then check their work. Again, not micromanaging, but coming behind them and saying, okay, this was really good. And be objective about how they went about doing it, because again, there's more than one way to get to the end result of a task. So it may not be the way you would have done it, but if it doesn't go against any legal guidelines or any policies or procedures that would put anyone in an endangered situation, then by all means be open to their way of understanding it and comprehending it, especially when they came out with the end results you expected or even better. So that's something to consider as well. Now we want to look at signs of a trainable person. Many companies administer cognitive ability tests as part of their pre employment screening, so make sure that you are following through with that as well. As far as the end results, what's your scale of what you are looking for, what's your range of scores, and what you're looking for to properly position people, because they are a good hire, but you may have to put them on a different level. They may be that entry level, that may be that middle management, or even upper management level. So you may want to look at it from that perspective as well. Now, these assessments, many of them may measure their IQ, their general mental ability, their verbal skills, their math skills, their perception, their inductive or deductive reasoning. Again, what's their logic? How did they logically explain how they came to that solution or that resolve? So that's very important as well. Also, there's other types of training, your technical and your technology, of course. Your quality training, if you're looking for quality control in certain of departments, that's important. Your skills training, depending on what type of skill sets they need, especially if they're in technology or even if they're in the medical industry. It depends on the industry. You want to look at their skill levels and their skill training. Soft skills training. We have gotten away from that so much. We used to call it manners. We used to call it courtesy. What's their respect levels? Do they have the common connectivity to other human beings skill sets? Professional training, legal training, depending on your industry, you may want to make sure that they are carrying the right credentials, or if you are in an industry where there is an annual need for CPE credits or to keep your licensing or certifications, you want to make sure that you make that information, if not the actual training, accessible. But you want to make sure that you are giving those that labor with you the resources that they need to grow in your business. When they see that you have certain accessibilities available to them, and you also can have non-disclosure agreements where that employee has to understand that if you're going to invest in them and train them, that in turn they have to give you a set amount of time, whether it's 1 to 3 years or 1 to 2 years, so that you're getting value from the training you have provided. Then by all means do that. Your team training. I love team trainings where if you take a day where no, I don't know if they still do that, but back in the day, they used to have those team trainings where you may have shut down the office for a day and everybody did team building exercises, because you want to see how well everybody works together versus the backbiting and the gossiping and the department against department type of situation. Don't nobody want to work in that environment anymore. The pandemic of 2020 really has changed people's mentality about jobs. And it's also causing businesses to change their way of doing things. So just because you're going to be working from home, don't think that there isn't technology out there that's going to track your time on your laptops or track your times on your phones or track your keystrokes and different things. So hey, where there's a yin, there's a yang. So don't think that, it's going to be all peaches and cream on your end just because you're working from home. There's disciplines involved in working from home. Okay? So let's make sure that we're doing that. Your managerial training, of course, please make sure if you think enough of them to put them on a managerial level, then make sure that you're depositing into them the right resources to maintain, sustain, and even grow in their managerial career with your companies and organizations. And by all means, everyone, regardless if you have 1 to 3 employees, or if you have 2 to 500, or if you have 1,000 employees, I am a firm believer in taking the time to have safety training. You need to make sure that your facilities are OSHA compliant. You need to make sure that you have all of the safety gear and things in place, that people know their entrance and exit strategies. Anytime I go into a public place, I am looking for the way to get out. I've just made that a normal way of life for myself. I want to know if my egress getting out is clear. I need to know that if there is an exit strategy plan, either in the elevators or in the stairwells or different areas. You want to make sure that your extinguishers are inspected, that there's compliances that you must have. You need to make sure that you have all of your human resource material posted in a public area to the employees so that they know what their rights are, especially in this country. And each state has different laws. So you need to make sure that those are posted. So your safety training is critically important, at least once a year. And every now and then, hey, with terrorism and different things going on, you need to have a plan of what happens if someone comes into your establishment in a violent manner. You need to practice that, just like we used to practice fire drills. I know some companies still do fire drills and exit strategies of a physical location in case there is a situation. So with that being said, my kings and queens, thank you so much for joining me today on Business Strategies and Tips with Lady L, our Business Empowerment Days of the Week series, sharing golden nuggets. And today being Work It Out Wednesday, make sure that you are putting and executing your plans and your strategies. Make sure that your staff is connected to those procedures. And I appreciate so much you joining me. Please share this experience with someone, especially if they are colleagues in business. And let me have your takeaways. Let me know how this show is being of a blessing to you or a help to you, to your staff. Feel free to share it with them. You never know. Sometimes you may not be able to talk direct, but there's this roundabout way that you can go about it and make an incentive out of it. Make a reward or an achievement type of setting so that you're keeping the camaraderie up and lively in your work environment, okay? So trust your journey. Make sure that you are answering your adventure call. This is the fourth quarter of 2022. You need to be declaring and preparing momentums to go into your 2023, and understand that you did not wake up today to be mediocre or to operate in mediocrity. And as my sign is saying, your level of success will never or rarely exceed your level of personal development. And that is a quote by Jim Rohn. And thank you, Brenda, for my sign. She is one of our queens in our life-changing alliances. And she does everything. T-shirts, bags, hats. Let me see if I can get her website, because she is amazing. And you definitely want to get a hold of her to get some gear for your businesses. Get that marketing material out there. Let's see. She is... second. Let's see. Her company name. Why is it eluding me right now? Just because I want to find it. But I can give you her email address and you can get in touch with her. Let's see. Brenda Bryant 56 at gmail.com. That's BrendaBryan 56 at gmail.com. I will have her detailed information for you tomorrow when you tune in, because I really encourage you to support her business. It is amazing. We have t-shirts that our Life-Changing Alliances wear, and she has mugs, she has decorative tote bags, and she does signs. I mean, whatever comes up, and I didn't ask her to do that. She did that from the bottom of her heart because she is such a creative and she just blesses people. And of course I blessed her back because I wasn't going to let her go out like that. No, I show my appreciation for those that show me their appreciation. So with that being said, bye-bye for now and have an awesome Work It Out Wednesday.